You know, in the beginning, when you're starting to build a unit practice council or unit-based council, yes, managers are very involved. They need to help their staff get the structures and processes in place. So they're going to help with agendas. They're going to help with just finding a meeting room. Clinical staff may not know how to do that in the beginning. They're going to help them with resources. Do they need a laptop to actually make presentations, make agendas, make meeting minutes? Do you have templates that you're using as an organization? All those basic things that go into a meeting, some of our clinical staff may have never done before. So you'll have to, as the manager, help them in the beginning just to get those basic structures and processes down. As the unit practice council gets rolling and they get in a tempo and they're meeting monthly and they're looking at their data and they're creating goals and creating those action plans, the manager should step back and be what we call outside the circle. So if if you can visualize a table and all of your folks are sitting at the table and they're having their meetings, the manager should begin to sit outside of the table, then away from the table. So they're not necessarily looking to you for the answer, but they're working at the table first to come up with an answer before they look outside the circle and look to the manager. Eventually, the manager will get to step out of the meeting. They'll allow the staff to have their meeting on their own. Now, the chair and co-chair should still meet with the manager to go over agenda items, make sure they're appropriate to the shared governance council, the unit practice council. If they're looking at practice environment, those types of things that are specific to them on the nursing unit. But if the agenda is set up with the manager ahead of time, the manager is still involved. Helping them, making sure, setting those expectations, giving them the guardrails within which they can practice as a unit practice council, but not necessarily needing to be involved in the meeting itself. Good question. It is difficult sometimes to keep them on track and keep them engaged because this is a process. And it's a 2-year process from the time you submit your application for Magnet until the time you submit your documents. It can be up to 24 months. That's a long time to keep folks engaged and keep them writing. So, we encourage things like strategic planning sessions. Again, set milestones, set goals so that your teams know what they're working towards. If you want 25% of the stories done by X date, then they should know the date. They get to choose the stories that they're writing and the things they're working on, but they know what the goal is for that quarter or for the 6 months, whatever it is. But make sure you have goals and you create strategies to help them get those things done. If you don't have a story for a source of evidence or an element of performance, then who's going to take that and who's going to find the story that will fulfill that source of evidence or element of performance? Once you have a strategic plan, you have your goals set, make sure you're setting up regular meetings with your writing teams. You don't want to just send them on their merry way and say, okay, I'll check back with you in, 6 months to see how you're doing. I mean, that's a long time for them to go without interacting with other folks. So we recommend monthly meetings with your writing teams. And there's a couple different reasons for that. One, they're seeing the Magnet program director, the Pathways program director. So they're keeping in touch with them. Two, you want to make sure that your writing teams are not duplicating stories. So if one writing team is writing about a new practice in the ER and another writing team heard about it and they're also writing to it, now you've got one story being used in 2 places, and you'll have to decide where it fits the best. So that's the second thing. And then the third thing I always say is, they can swap stories. So yeah, maybe you're talking about this ER story and the team decides it doesn't quite fit there. in that section, but you know what? It really does fit over here in this section. We'll take that story and we'll write it in our section of the documents. So really, it is keeping folks in touch with each other. And you know, they really do thrive off interaction with each other. They start bouncing ideas off each other. Hey, you know what? I heard about this that's happening in your unit. Is that true? Could I use that as a story? Oh, yeah. Hey, that's a great idea. So they really start to interact with each other. And like I said, they really thrive, and it helps them understand who's writing, what they're writing to. And then the last thing that I would recommend is celebrate every milestone. You know, the first story that's done in each section, celebrate it. Make sure everyone's seeing it. Hey, look, we've got one done already. Yay! You know, and even if it's just a small celebration in your monthly meeting, or if it's a big celebration, you're putting it in a monthly newsletter for the organization. But don't forget to celebrate all along the way. Those little celebrations promote the staff. They get excited about what they're doing and they keep going. They keep looking for more things to write about and they want to finish it and get it back to the MPD or the PPD so that they can be celebrated too as a team.